Hello, world! This is Basil coming to you with Voices in My Head, the podcast where we talk about audiobooks, audiobook production, making audiobooks, little birds that go up in the jungle. We talk about anything you want to talk about as long as it has to do with audiobooks. Well, folks, I'm on the air today with Mike Charzuk, who is senior producer for Audible Studios down there in New Jersey. You know, Audible Studios, the big guys. And they're the ones that if you want to get an audiobook, you go to their website. Well, if you want to make an audiobook, you meet Mike. And Mike can hook you up on how to begin in this wonderful career that we've been talking about in this podcast. So to begin with, Mike, last episode of my podcast, I discussed the 13-week contract very briefly, just a general overview of what it was, very general, as in there's a 13-week contract. And so I thought we'd get together and chat a little bit about more details about what the contract is all about. Let me pull my microphone down here. I hope I didn't just blow my sound. The 13-week contract. Tell us a little bit about the history and what the 13-week contract is.
Sure. Well, the history of the 13-week contract came about from Audible, as you know, is the leading producer of audiobooks right now in the world. And we had a deep backlist of titles, many hundreds of titles, and we just didn't see it economically feasible to produce them in the classic or the through the Audible Studios model of traditional production. So we thought about it. We had a lot of skull sessions about it, and we came up with the idea of what if we used the model of the old Hollywood studios where an actor was contracted to do movie after movie. And that when we ran the numbers, if we did that, that would bring the cost down and we would be able to produce these books. And we're talking very deep backlist, old titles, but we wanted to create more and more content. So we did, and that's what we did. We said, let's play around with some numbers, let's see if we can do that, and it actually came into fruition from that small idea of let's use a Hollywood studio model from back in the day. And so basically what it is you would be contracted to perform, as we call it, a queue of audiobooks, and the top tier is 15. We expect 15 finished hours a week, so that's 30 hours in the studio. For a set fee, depending on your experience level, and the top tier folks who have a certain amount of books under their belt, it's plus 60 books, would be around $33,000, and for the 13 weeks, and it's broken up into thirds. You're able to bill in 3 installments. When you sit behind the mic, you can bill the middle and the end. And what I like about this, and what SAG-AFTRA liked about it, and now because it's such a big hit with actors, is that you get your pension and health paid for, and that's a big it's a big deal for actors. And that was one of the other reasons why I personally wanted to do it, because I felt that people wait around for the phone to ring, they wait for me to call them for one-off titles, but this is a way that we can give you steady work. It's guaranteed. And it's been a great success. I'm really happy that we could do this.
Now, how does that work model work? I mean, you guys are in New Jersey, and I know there's a lot of actors in New Jersey, New York, all that area that are coming into your studios and doing the work. So if you're within commuting distance to Audible Studios, how would an actor participate in the program?
Well, the two things there. You can come into the studios if you want to, and we have single recording booths where it's just like a home studio setup, but it's in a very high-tech kind of booth. It's something that you probably wouldn't have, the average person wouldn't have at home. It's a little high-tech. It's a little more soundproof. We're in an open office environment where people are walking around all day. It's very wide open. There are no offices or walls or anything like that. So we had to take that into consideration. But
sounds like it's hard to take a nap in your office.
No, you'd be surprised how much we nap. I'm sleeping right now, actually. But the other way that the more successful way of doing this is we're getting people with home studios that have home studio setups that we approve. We approve the quality, and then they can do the 13-week contracts from home. And so you don't have to schlep all the way into Jersey or be in the Jersey area. We certainly have top-tier talent here that is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have a home studio, and it's a great success that way. So it's the same exact deal. The good thing about a home studio is that, you know, you can work at your own pace, your own schedule. You can work in your jammies or whatever. Here we have 2 shifts, 7 days a week in those studios. So, you know, you are scheduled. So it's a little more locked in. You have to, you know, you're a little more, it's just a little more disciplined, where at home we just expect the 15 finished hours. If you want to work 2 in the morning, you can. If you want to work 10 in the morning.
Right. And coming into the studio, I assume you probably have to wear pants.
No, not really. No, you don't have to.
Well, that's comfortable then. That's comfortable. Okay. I might have to move out there. But I like the fact that you guys do this through those of us who have home studios, because, like for myself, the commute from Anchorage, Alaska to New Jersey is very tough. And when I use my teleporter, the electric bills are astronomical. So I try to keep that down to just family visits and stuff. So when they're doing the 13-week contract, what kind of narrators are you looking for to join this production model that you got going on? What are you looking for in a narrator? Yeah,
I mean, it's the same as if we were looking for a narrator for anything, for Audible Studios proper or ACX or whatever. We're looking for talented actors, and it is an acting job. I mean, you're going to get nonfiction books, but most of the books are going to be fiction, and we're looking for good quality actors, folks that aren't just straight VO or radio people, but people that have an acting background. And we happen to find that folks with a theater background are really suited for audiobooks in general, whether it's the 13-week deal or not. Specifically to the 13-week deal, folks that have a lot of stamina and that can really crank out the work consistently, we find really are suited to this type of work, because remember, it's book after book after book. Very little prep time, so it's folks that can really get the material quickly, perform it accurately, and can maintain their voice and keep their stamina. Are the folks that we're looking for. But really, it comes down to the talent behind the mic. That's what we're looking for. Folks that are really good actors. And then the technical component too. You know, we want folks that can actually record themselves, give us a clean punch record. But we'll train you. You know, if you're really up to snuff vocally, you don't have the chops technically. We've trained many folks, and it's worked out.
Oh, excellent. Now, when you say punch record, for those who are getting new into this, there's a lot of these terms that we just don't understand. You know, when folks first come into the business. What do you mean by punch record, and what does that involve for the narrator and the studio?
Yeah, so there's 2 types of recording. It's what we call you can just let it roll, which just means you hit record and you start reading, and any mistake, any take, everything is on tape, as they say, or on the track. A punch record is when you make that mistake, you will stop quickly. You'll put the cursor, if you're in Pro Tools or you're in Reaper or something like that, some digital recording system, and you put the cursor right where the mistake happened, and you'll have a little bit of pre-roll, which means you'll hear a little bit of yourself when you put it back into record. When it hits that spot, it jumps into record and you start reading. So in other words, you're getting rid of that mistake right there. And we want a clean punch record, meaning you're not going to clip the word before or start too late or too soon, but it's nice and clean so that when the editor gets it, you'll be sending all the audio to an editor that we set you up with. They get a nice clean record, so they don't have to clean up too much, and it becomes a little cost prohibitive if they start working on it too much. So, and just so I could let you know and let the folks know that you're set up with an editor on a 13-week deal, where you become like a team, so that it's the same editor throughout. Hopefully, sometimes there's issues with the editor or something. We change it up, but very rarely. So you become a team, and they'll stay on your on with you with the book, and they'll say you lost your accent here or whatever, or the pacing is off. So you become kind of a team, and that's really been a very successful partnership we find with the editors.
And you do begin to make friends internationally, even.
Absolutely, a network. You network, and yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's terrific. Well, I tell you, the program itself, I've been through it twice. I'm hopefully heading into a third one here this fall, and it's been an awesome experience from my perspective. From at least so far. Now, from a long-term career perspective, what kind of opportunities and options does both the 13-week program and Audible in general have for narrators?
Well, certainly the 13-week program. Certainly, you can do three contracts within an 11-month period. Then you need 3 months off. That's just the labor laws. But you can continually do these things as long as we have the titles and you're available. It could be. We've had people that have done several of these contracts, and so that's an opportunity. The other opportunity, which people don't really think about, is that the way the industry is now and the way it is going is the people that have the home studio chops, or just the ability to record yourself and do more, make yourself more valuable, you're going to get more work. And in general. Even for Audible Studios proper, not the 13-week deal, we hire folks to do one-off titles at home. And some of them go all the way through the mastering phase, and those are the ones that are the most valuable to us. It's like, great, you record, edit, and master yourself. You give us back retail-ready audio. So by doing the 13-week deal, if you start in as a newbie, as we say, and we train you, and now you've learned that skill set, basically on Audible, we've trained you, and now you have the whole skill set where you can go out into the industry and become much more valuable.
Oh yeah, it's not just a stepping stone to get into the business. It's a stepping stone. It's several rungs up the ladder from the stepping stone. It's a potential career of its own, and then opens the door to nirvana type bliss when it comes to acting. So,
right, I've often been told that actually.
Yeah. You are Mike Charzuk, the guru. So.
Yeah, right. No, but I think it's important that people, there are people that are technophobes, and certainly some actors, tend to not be technically inclined, and they were very, very apprehensive. But some of the old, the real stalwarts in the industry, and by that I mean experience, not age old, the people were really, a little apprehensive. Once we trained them, they were like, wow, I can't believe this is, that it's me doing this, and they've gotten work in other studios for other publishers, and it's great. I think it's a good thing.
That's awesome. And, you mentioned that work for other publishers. So people I think sometimes get an impression that this is a competitive business, which acting is a competitive business. You're competing against other actors to get roles. But within the business itself, it seems like there's a lot of interrelations between studios and actors being able to work multiple places, not like the old 20s and 30s Hollywood model where you sign on with a studio and that's all you're doing.
Right, no, I totally agree with that. When you're on the 13-week deal, you just don't have time to do anything else. So in a way, it is like the Hollywood model, but it's only because of the time factor. What I must say, and this is not many people know this, is that, and this is, the union loves this, that we do this. If you're in a 13-week contract, and let's just say you do get a play, or you get a commercial gig, or you get another book that you really need to do for Penguin or Hachette, we will suspend the contract and you go do that work, and then you could come back and pick up right where you left off. So we're very accommodating that way. So yeah, and we've stopped people in the middle of a contract because we needed them to do a book, and we didn't just throw it into the queue meaning they had to do the book, is that the book was due at a certain period of time. They needed to do it. It was part of a series, and we suspended the contract. They did their book at their normal union rate, and then came back into the contract and continued on with the queue. So we're really accommodating that way. Yeah.
When it comes to the union rate, I've noticed, of course, the one-off jobs pay a lot more than the contract jobs, PFH. So how is that decided, and how is that figured out? Say, for instance, getting paid $2.25 an hour for a one-off job, but the 13-week comes up to like $185, something like that.
Yeah, right. Well, that, like I said in the beginning, it was always our assumption and our goal to not ever do these books in Audible Studios proper at the high union rates, because these are not books. We were doing this strictly for content, of course for sales, but we wanted content, and these books just wouldn't have been done at all had we not come up with a cost-effective solution. The cost-effective solution was, let's try to do this studio model and guaranteed work. So just by what we think the books were going to sell, how hard it is to produce them, all the other metrics, we came up with, hey, let's start off with this for the experience, the benchmarks in cost in the rates. And that's all it was, and it's guaranteed. Where one-offs, it's a one-off, and then you don't know if you're going to get called again. Right. So that was a plus too, and the pension and health is a big deal.
It makes a big difference to know, hey, I'm going to make 80 or 90 grand this year, and get health benefits versus, hey, I might make $2,000 this month and 10 next month. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to talk to you in person. I've been working with you guys at Audible for several years now, and say your name at the end of every book. And so it's like, wow, okay, he's a real person. He's not just, like this corporate figure.
No, I'm real.
Excellent. Even three-dimensional in the video here, so that's pretty good. Well, anyway, I look forward to a lot more work with you guys and really enjoying the whole team that you guys have down there. Samantha, Neil, all those guys that are constantly emailing and making sure we're set up and ready to go and helping us with work. Great bunch of people, and the occasional digital lunches that you guys do are pretty cool.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And if you ever need me again, just give me a call.
Will do. Thanks, Mike. So there you have it, folks. The 13-week contract with Audible. Mike Charzuk presenting his views on everything related to what they do over there that can get you into this industry. So if you're interested in doing it, you got the chops to get in there and make a bite out of this sandwich called audiobook narration. Jump in there, get your feet wet, get yourself to the position where you're making a good, viable, livable career. And it'll be good. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.